Mexico is full of wonderful destinations, both naturally occurring and man-made, and many would argue that the Carlsbad Caverns, located in the southeastern corner of the state, is the premier destination for adventure seekers, nature lovers, and casual sightseers alike. With majestic vistas above ground and over 100 known caves, that's known, there may be more below the surface, the caverns are a precious gem in the landscape of New Mexico. Joining us with more information is travel and lifestyle writer and editor Debbie Stone. Debbie, good to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Well, I'm delighted we're talking about the caverns. When I was a kid, one of my first trips that we ever took that I remember very distinctly was going down to Carlsbad Caverns. So for folks that may have just moved to the state or may have just not gotten down to the caverns, tell us a little bit about Carlsbad Caverns.
Well, you know, when it comes to the discovery of the caverns, the name to remember is Jim White. The 16-year-old ranch hand in the late 1890s, out riding on his horse looking for stray cattle, sees what he thinks is smoke coming out of the ground, goes to investigate, sees that it's a swarm of bats, and then sees they're coming out of this huge hole.
Wow.
And of course, being the 16-year-old boy that he is, he's going to go in that hole.
Yeah, of course.
And then he's like, whoa, a cave. And he keeps going back to explore it and continues to find more rooms and is so enamored with it. But nobody believes his tales of this like subterranean marvel.
Well, sure. I mean, because you describe it, you're like, I found this gigantic hole in the earth spewing bats. They're like, okay, sure, whatever,
And
kid.
all these formations that he's talking about. So anyway, he gets a photographer named Ray Davis who comes down with him, takes pictures, and then it all breaks loose.
Yeah.
And word gets to Washington, D.C. The Department of Interior sends its inspectors. 1923, it's recognized as a national monument. 7 years later, it's a national park.
That's great. And there's so many ways that you can also explore the caverns, right? Depending on what you're looking to do. Because they are big. I mean, you're talking like, it's, I believe, 119 caves?
119 known caves. They
Known
just discovered
caves.
a new cave on Halloween, and they called it, of course, Halloween Cave.
There you
this past
go.
fall.
That's great. So what are some of the ways that folks can explore the caves?
First of all, you can enter the caves two ways. One, you can take the elevator down 750 feet from the visitor center, or you can take the natural entrance, which is very, very cool, because the natural entrance is the authentic historical entrance where the explorers went, which you have to walk then, you know, down the 750
That's right.
feet.
Yeah, it's got a switchback going in, right?
All the way down. But they end up at the same place, which is the big room, which is a self-guided tour. So you can do that one on your own. And the big room is probably one of the highlights of Carlsbad. It's huge, I think 8+ acres. It's
No
the
kidding.
largest
Wow.
underground room, I think, in the Western Hemisphere.
Wow. Now, is Carlsbad open year-round?
It is open year-round.
It is? Okay,
It is
that's
open
good to know.
year-round. And so you've got the self-guided tour, and then you've got the ranger-led tours. And they range from the very popular King's Palace to the very adventurous Spider Cave or Left-Hand Tunnel or Lower Cave. And those are the ones that the spelunkers, I love that name.
Yeah, I know, right?
Spelunkers. If you really want to feel like a spelunker, you'll put your headlamp on and you'll be crawling on your hands and knees and going through all these tight, you know, squeezed places and, you know, going down vertical ladders and climbing up with ropes. And so you can really feel very authentic that experience. But if you have claustrophobia or if you have fear of heights, those are probably not for you.
Yeah, probably not. That's great. Well, and of course, one of the great attractions a lot of people love, as you said, and one of the main reasons the cave was discovered, the bats.
The bats are phenomenal.
When should we be there to see the bats? Because it's them going out and then coming in, right?
Absolutely, and the summer months are for the bats.
Okay.
The Mexican free-tailed bats, they migrate from Mexico or from the south, and they come up and they spend the summer months roosting in the cave, having their young. And every evening, visitors can gather at this amphitheater outside the natural entrance, and they can watch this exodus of the bats. And sometimes it takes up to 20 minutes before all of the bats. I mean, that's thousands and thousands and thousands of bats.
Wow.
And they come out in this like serpentine formation, and they go out there to eat all night long and then come back in the morning, and then they sleep all day again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of sounds like some of my friends in college, actually.
But really, the thing that people come for the caves, I think, are the formations.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah, the stalactites and the stalagmites and all just the beautiful.
You know, the popcorn on the walls, the draperies, the crystals, the pearls. It's like being really in a palace.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably decorated.
Yeah, and it's not that far from, I mean, what? It's 2.5 hours, 3 hours from Albuquerque,
It's a couple
maybe.
hundred miles, I think, from Albuquerque. It's a great getaway destination.
Absolutely. Very easy to do and lots of great great stuff in Carlsbad, folks. We will, of course, have links on our website at casa.com under the Two Casas Style blog about Carlsbad Caverns. Debbie, thank you so much. I'm excited. I got to go back
Gotta
now.
go back again.
Yes,
Go back
absolutely.
again.
Absolutely. All right.